Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the upper tier, and this is Thursday Tier Talk. Joining me as always from the casting couch, the Dazzler himself, Darren. How are we, pal?
I'm all right. No, I can't lie. It's been a busy week, getting back at it, back to work and stuff. But listen, I won't complain because nobody fucking listens. So yeah, there you are.
Absolutely.
It's all the
That's a
fucking
lovely bunch of flowers growing out of your head anyway. It looks lovely. Also joining us tonight from the Chelsea Raw and Dynamo's Dozen, Ian the Dynamo Kelly. Ian, how are we, pal?
All good, my brothers. Glad
Good.
to be back on this fine Thursday.
Plenty of Chelsea talk later on in the show anyway.
No, there's not.
You don't need to be going anywhere else tonight, because tonight we are going to be bringing you the Premier League preview. We're going to be bringing you our picks from Beat the Bookie, and we are going to be looking back at 30 years of the Champions League and picking some memorable moments. So if you're in the chat or you're listening to the show, drop some of your Champions League memorable moments in the chat. And also, if you want, you can let us know if you're doing any bets at the weekend as well. Again, I'd preface this obviously with the passing of the Queen today. Not sure whether these fixtures will go ahead at the weekend, but we'll see. There's supposed to be an announcement in the morning, as far as I know, from the so we shall see. But let's begin. Let's pull up the fixtures. They are off, are they?
I believe they're off. But anyway, so I've heard.
Okay, well, we'll run down through them quickly anyway, because we've plenty to talk about anyway.
Sure, listen, let's have a little look. And I'm gonna do a live watch along with Man United while we're here as well, just so everyone can keep up to date with how their game is going.
Keep everyone up to date. Yeah, it was 0-0 at half time. Ronaldo unlucky with a brilliant header that was just ruled offside.
Jeff Stelling.
Because he did manage to get back onside, no?
Maybe that's the case, but it was a beautiful header
chance
anyway.
In the second half. Had another chance in the second half, an easier chance, you would say, from a header, and skewed his header wide of the post from inside the 6-yard box. Oh,
and I'll keep us updated on West Ham, who are currently 1-0 down. And also, just to dig in, because we're Irish, we'll keep you updated on Shamrock Rovers, that is currently 0-0. Alrighty.
I was going to say, we prefer to hear about Shamrock Rovers and West Ham. Jesus.
I don't know if you watched it, if you were on Amazon Prime. I watched the documentary there last week, the Iron Man, about West Ham, and it was all about the move to the Olympics, the Olympic Stadium from Upton Park and stuff like that. Fantastic documentary. I have to say, Mark Noble, absolute Trojan. What a man. But great documentary.
Was this on
brilliant.
Sky? Was this just the one about Mark Noble himself?
No. This was actually about what it came across of was there was a lot of people running a lot of small businesses, like food and merchandise and stuff like that around Upton Park.
Yes.
And what it did was it basically followed the impact of basically moving ground to the Olympic Stadium at the time, and the net effect it would have on the surrounding community and stuff like that, and the team, and how they went back to their roots and all that kind of stuff. And it was great. There was one lady featured in it, and at the first game, I think, that they played in the Olympic Stadium, she was 100 years old, and she had gone to every home game apparently, or something like that. It was unbelievable, but it was very emotional, and I'm not even a Hammers fan, but it was a brilliant documentary. And if you have the time, if there's no football over the weekend, it's definitely one worth a watch. It's very, very good.
Funny enough, you should say that, Niall. It's one London club one of the London clubs, like in the upper tier, no pun intended. Shout out to the upper tier boys. One of the London clubs I actually always had a little bit of a soft spot for, funny enough.
Yeah, no, it's steeped in history and stuff like that. And speaking of the upper tier, myself and Darren cemented that name on the podcast last week at Clash of the Castle. We were very much in the upper tier, weren't we, Darren?
We sure were. We were in the upper echelons that night. That was like, I got a note over the chair, so that'll just tell everybody how we were.
We were contemplating changing the podcast to the upper tier. That's how high up we were.
we really did.
Yeah,
Sky brought out a documentary for Mark Noble, because obviously he ended his career at the end of last season there, and they followed him around. Excuse me, and they brought him back to the bowling ground, which is now apartments and townhouses and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And they brought him back to a school, and they brought him back to a few other places. And again, lovely, lovely documentary. I'm not a West Ham fan, but they did it very, very well. And I would agree with Ian. West Ham, a club with a lot of history, a lot of culture. I've lucky enough to be in the bowling ground. I saw United win there 5-3 one day against West Ham. And I was absolutely, I was only a young lad at this stage. I was probably like 19, 20. And I was absolutely shitting myself because the West Ham lads just wanted any sort of a riot they could get their hands on. And at that stage, I hadn't hit the Happy Meals and I wasn't as big as I am now. So I was like, nah, don't need any of this trouble. It's a bit too much for me.
Yeah. But
Here, Dazzler, I'll give you a quick little funny one, right? A mate of mine, when I was a young lad, a mate of mine's dad was a West Ham fan. And at that time, it was real, you wouldn't know many West Ham fans around the gaff, like. No. And he told me he was over at I think it was West Ham and Arsenal. And two lads got into a row, both West Ham fans. One lad, in a couple of seats above him, he goes, "Come on, you cunt." And your man below him goes, "Shut up, you cunt." And he goes, "Who you calling cunt, cunt? You fucking cunt." And he goes, this went back and forward for about 2 minutes. And he was like, it was literally like something from, a Monty Python sketch with two stupid football fans just literally coming back at each other with the exact same fucking profanity, like. But yeah, scary bunch. Definitely a scary bunch.
Right, let's run down through these fixtures quickly.
1-0 to Sociedad there, lads. Almost 1-0 to Sociedad. The little boy playing on the left-hand side, Taki, got the ball and went past Victor Lindelof, who's now playing right back. Put the ball across the 6-yard box, and it was on its way into the goal until an unbelievable block from Lisandro Martinez. And Sociedad have just been given a penalty.
Oh, we better stay with you. We better stay with yourself.
Better stay with Dazzler, yeah.
Lisandro Martinez made an unbelievable challenge to take the ball off the toe of the boy Alexander Sorloth, who used to play for Crystal Palace. The ball went out for a corner. It's come in for the corner. The same boy, Taki, little Japanese lad, plays a great little... Let's have a look here. That's a shocking decision. Oh, my God. It's David Silva who's had a go. It's hit Lisandro on the leg and bounced up towards his arm. And he's given a penalty and he's given a yellow card. Now, VAR are checking. Now, this is like Martinez goes to close down the ball. It's a reasonable block. He catches it on his left leg and it bounces from his left leg up to his right arm, but it pings from one to the other. So the block is actually with the left leg. Where's the referee gone? Is the referee gone for a look? Check over.
Check it.
My God. Check over. So holy Jesus. Check over.
Is it a penalty?
That is shocking. It's a
penalty stands, does it?
Yeah, it's a penalty.
Right, we'll stay with you for the penalty then.
Who's stepping up for it?
Penalty stands. He's booked Martinez. This is extremely... It looks like it's the boy Mikel Moreno, who actually used to play for Newcastle. He came from Dortmund to Newcastle and then he went back to Sociedad. I think that's who it is. Is it the kid's jersey?
The boy Taki Darren looked very...
It's someone else.
Yeah, the boy Taki Darren in the first half looked very impressive.
He's looked very good.
Yeah. Yeah, and for a small lad as well, he's not a big guy
Nice
either.
Little turn of foot, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's got a nice little... he's about to step up, whoever he is, number 23. I'll tell you who that is now. He stepped up. He's gone to David De Gea's left. De Gea goes the right way and he's put it in the corner. It's 1-0 Sociedad, 58 minutes gone. Number 20. Sociedad, number 23. Which is...
Would have thought David Luiz stepped up there.
It's Bras Mendes. Don't know who the lad is.
Brass Tax.
I gotta say, it's a very, very, very harsh decision.
Sounds harsh.
If I'm honest.
Sounds harsh from what you said anyway.
You lads know me. If it's a penalty, it's a penalty. I don't care whose jersey it's on, right?
Yeah.
But that's a very, very hard penalty to give, I must say. Lisandro goes to the block. He takes it on his left and it bounces up to his arm. And straight away, as quick as a flash, the ref blows the whistle for the spot kick and books him straight away. And that's a strange decision for me.
Yeah,
I don't
especially
know.
if you guys are home as well, isn't it? Especially if you guys are home as well.
We're at home, It's a strange.
I'm not a fan of those decisions, Dazzler, the ones where they bounce up. I'm not a fan of them at all, to be honest. We've seen a lot of them last year, and I have to say, even watching the Champions League game so far, there's been a couple of contentious decisions with the offside and this new offside technology and stuff. It's just been some strange decisions. I'm not saying game-changing decisions, but
I think a deflection off a part of your body up into your arm is very harsh, isn't it?
It's very harsh,
very harsh. Yeah. Like, and not to listen, I know it was a bad night for you guys last night, and I'm not getting at that. But I mean, this is completely different to, let's say, the James Milner, where he sticks his left hand out. You know
I don't think there's any argument on last night's ones at all.
that was just absolutely mental. And this bounces up, and this bounces up, and just that's very. I'm just seeing another replay here. I don't know. Anyone that's listening or watching, please let us know. What do you think of that? Is that a good decision? Is it a bad decision? It's a woeful decision for me now, I've got to be honest, but I'd like to hear other people's comments. Maybe an impartial fan, an Arsenal fan, Morris, if you're listening. Anyone else? I think it's tough. But
Morris will be straight on 100% penalty.
Yeah, well, cheap production in action as usual, you know. I don't even think Morris gives this. Honestly, like, it's that bad.
You're looking for an impartial. You're looking for an impartial, non-United fan to discuss a penalty given to Sociedad against United. Here we go. Morris, he's coming for you in already.
We're in a
Potter
in. Oh, there you go. Look, never a penalty, boys. Morris said. Thanks, Morris.
Potter in on a 5.
I gotta say, we're in a bit of trouble here. This boy Taki is leading Victor Lindelof a merry dance. They've moved Lindelof to the right back slot. They took Dalot off, and they brought Martinez in beside Maguire. And the boy Taki is really causing Lindelof hassle. You can see he's not a fullback here. I know he's played a fullback before, but you're either a fullback or not, and this kid's not a fullback. And this could be trouble for United because they're peppering our left hand side here, down the Sociedad left hand side, which is where Lindelof is playing. He's on our right back slot. I'll keep us in the loop as this keeps going, lads. Let's look at the fixtures, yeah.
Yeah, let's get into the fixtures quickly and go through them in the unlikelihood that they probably won't go ahead, but they will go ahead at some stage anyway. Not that the
fixtures, absolutely.
Yeah, not that the Premier League can afford to be losing dates. With the pressure they're under already.
Absolutely
but
not.
We'll start with you. Lunchtime Saturday, Fulham versus Chelsea.
Yeah. First game. You know, the only thing I would say, you know, in our defence is it's a bit of a long haul for us now. To be fair, be going away to Fulham with a new manager, you know, all of 10 minutes down the road. It's interesting to see how the new boy sets up. You know, obviously he's going to have a day to kind of reshape. But I mean, I remember the last manager that came in with I think with 5 or 6 hours notice done not too bad. I believe it was a certain German who was replaced. So interesting to see. Interesting to see. You know, what was it? Am I at the missing
GP, rest in peace, Freddie Mercury.
I'm just at the getting that there now.
Morris is on fire tonight. I might have to end up sending Morris the link. Mount versus Pereira, the battle of the giants.
Could put Arteta in there, make it a three-way, maybe. No,
they did all right tonight. Actually, in fairness, didn't do too bad at all.
All right, yeah, they are,
absolutely.
Yeah. But
they did great on Sunday. They were super on Sunday.
They did super on Sunday. Actually, I was delighted. Yeah. No, I'd expect a bounce back from Chelsea. You know, the whole new manager coming in, kind of thing. It's not going to tell the full story, but it'll be interesting. The boy Mitrovic is always a worry. Actually, funny enough, a player that I thought we should have possibly looked at in the summer when we wanted that bastard striker. I thought Mitrovic would have been an outside shout to possibly come in. Don't know whether you boys agree or not, but he's certainly someone that would have fit the bastard and Chelsea mould, you know. But Todd obviously wanted to go a different direction. So
yeah. Darren, Bournemouth versus Brighton, one we would have been looking forward to, but maybe not as much now, seeing as we lost our man.
Yeah, and I mean, I suppose the attention really turns to who will get the Brighton job. You know, I don't necessarily see there being a huge list of candidates, because I don't think in the way Chelsea had, say, a list of candidates, I don't think Brighton are going to have the same list. They're certainly not going to be looking at Zinedine Zidane or Maurizio Pochettino, you know. So it'll be interesting to see what happens at Brighton. I think maybe in the interim, I know the Potter's backroom staff have left as well, so maybe in the interim will someone step up from the 21s or the 23s or something like that. It'll be interesting to see. Brighton should just try and keep the ball rolling until the new gaffer comes in. You know, they've been unbelievable so far this season. They're sitting fourth in the league. They've played some really good football. Like right now, Brighton need to change absolutely nothing. You know, just get the same kind of gig back out there. Get that back three, kind of keep things solid. Get everybody overloading the midfield and get runners coming from wide and checking inside and stuff, and just keep the ball rolling until somebody new comes in. That's what I'd be looking for anyway.
Morris is on for it. He says he will be back next season. Don't worry.
I love these lads who are about to fight. These are the same lads. Morris, I think Morris had to start wearing a cap from pulling his own hair out when Arteta first signed for Arsenal. I do believe so. I do believe in the bottle jobs that are Arsenal, and I believe that I will be the one smiling at the end of the season. And that I have no doubt. So enjoy it, Morris, because you're just giving me fuel.
I'll take the next one. Leicester versus Aston Villa is really the Job Centre Cup final, really, isn't it? Between Rodgers and Stevie G.
Isn't it funny how sometimes things just fall a certain way? Like imagine to have that game and you're pretty much facing down the barrel. If somebody loses that game, they're getting sacked on Monday now. Is that not? Are we not? Is that not 100%?
I would have thought one of them is looking potentially at a one-way ticket, potentially to Brighton maybe, but probably more Rodgers than Stevie, I would imagine. I can't imagine Stevie moving from Villa to Brighton. I don't think Brighton would see that as the right move at the moment. Maybe not. I don't know. But I fancy Villa, actually. I fancy Villa in this one, Darren.
I think Villa have probably put in the better performances without getting the results, if you know what I mean. I think the performances at Leicester have been poor. They're shipping lots of goals. We know obviously there's an issue where they've got rid of the boy Fofana and they hadn't got a replacement in and stuff like that. Then Soyuncu left the building as well. They've been playing Ndidi and Amartey at centre back. Neither of the lads are centre backs. That's showing up like it's a massive flaw in the system. And I think you're right. I think Villa are probably in with a chance here, if I'm honest.
Yeah, they might be able to bring that crest of that wave from the match against Man City, I think. So I think Villa are kind of looking a bit more progressive at the moment, where Leicester are kind of looking over their shoulder and kind of wondering where the next win's going to come from. So I wonder if Villa were to win it, would Rodgers get the build on Monday and head off to Brighton maybe? That could be the conundrum there, potentially.
You know what? Timing is of the essence. And I've got to say, with how things have gone at Leicester, and I understand obviously there's an issue with financial fair play at Leicester, and that's maybe why they've had to try and balance the books and stuff like that. I think Rodgers is feeling a little bit hard done by, and I think somewhere like Brighton will be a great fit for Brendan Rodgers. Again, somebody that likes to promote from downstairs, from the 23s and from the 21s. A guy who's a very good technical and tactical coach. I think Rodgers would be a great fit at Brighton, if I'm honest. I really do.
Yeah. Next up, Liverpool versus Wolves. I won't dwell on this one too much. I dropped a preview there about 3 hours ago on the channel. So if anyone wants to go check that out. Just to preface it, I called it a tight game, potentially either a draw or a tight 2-1 to Liverpool. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if the Liverpool shows up that slow out of the blocks, giving up goals, similar to we seen last night. Wolves will absolutely take us apart in that midfield area, especially. And
Wolves' biggest problem is they wouldn't hit a barn door with a banjo.
But this would be just a fixture, Darren, wouldn't it? Yeah. This would be the fixture where they show up and score a few.
Goal update. West Ham 1-1 now. Goal update. West Ham now 1-1. That has gone to. Let me have a little butchers here.
Jared Bowen.
Is it Jared Bowen?
I think with a penalty, yeah.
Jared Bowen with a penalty. Yeah, that's right. Penalty. There you go.
Yeah. Spot on. Yeah, so Southampton versus Brentford, Darren.
Brentford with a good win last weekend. Obviously, I know you mentioned the boy Ivan Toney, and you fancied him getting on the score sheet last week. He got the hat trick, which was great, and Visa and Wemo getting on the score sheet as well. So Brentford looked back in form last week, but I think Southampton, you can never write Southampton off. The big thing with Southampton is you just never know which Southampton is going to come out. You know, if it's the team that comes out and beats Chelsea and the team that runs United close, they're in with a chance of beating anybody. But then it could be the team that goes out and gets rolled over by someone else, and you're thinking, what happened? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Southampton are a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde side for me. It's at home. I would fancy Southampton, but I got to be honest.
Okay. And the 5-1 in Man City versus Spurs. This is kind of the litmus test for Conte this season, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Double change at Old Trafford. 70 minutes gone. Anthony Elanga both coming off Jadon Sancho, and the boy Alejandro Garnacho coming on. I think a lot of United fans have been waiting to see this kid in action with the full team. He is very, very exciting already, an Argentinian international. So I'll keep this up to date, lads. 20 minutes plus change to go. Eno, over to you, pal.
Yeah, interesting game. I think this is definitely the fixture of the weekend, isn't it? Conte has a good record against City. He knows how to kind of set up to frustrate, which I fully intend him to do. I just can't see that Viking up front for Man City, stopping his goal scoring run anytime soon. I think City have too much. But I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised at a draw with this one. I could see Conte setting up to frustrate. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see a low score draw, if I'm being honest.
Interesting. Thoughts, Darren?
Oh Jesus, I don't think there's low scores in this. I think we've goals. I think this would be akin to the Chelsea Spurs game a couple of weeks ago. It might be you score, we score. But I agree with Ian. I wouldn't be surprised to see Spurs get something out of it. They have a pretty good record at City over the last number of years. I think I'll go 2-2.
That was what I was actually tipping. Now, in my head, I was going low score draw. I'm thinking 2-2 because of what you would expect from both teams. But yeah, 2-2 is a fair draw, I think. Yeah,
it's going to be, hopefully, if it goes ahead, it'll be a great fixture to watch anyway. So, and a great idea. And if it ended in a draw, we'll tighten up the table. Lovely. We get into Sunday. Arsenal versus Everton, Darren, is at 2:00.
I see nothing other than an Arsenal win here.
Arsenal.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah, I think Arsenal will be back at it. I don't think they were awful last weekend against United. I think we just took our chances a little better and we created a little more in the final third. And I thought when you looked at Varane and Martinez as a centre-back pairing, they just looked like they had a little bit on the boy Gabriel and Saliba. And that's basically what got us over the line. So I would be thinking Arsenal all day long on Sunday.
Yeah, and then we move on. West Ham versus Newcastle. This is an interesting one. Both managers with very different starts to the season, but kind of faded a little bit. So both would be looking to pick up a win here, maximum points, wouldn't they, Darren? West Ham, Newcastle.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And I'm not a big fan of Europa League teams after the Thursday night games. I'd be lumping my chips on Newcastle in this game. I have to be honest with you. I think they're tight as a duck's arse at the back, and I think if they can get the boy Alexander Isak on the pitch, they'll cause West Ham enough trouble to get a win here on Sunday.
Yeah, we seen it even in West Ham last season, didn't we? When we seen the Thursday-Sunday conundrum, it was tough for them.
It stretches teams really, 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 really badly. You know, it really does, especially if you don't have the squad. Like if you've just finished the 7th in the league, and all of a sudden you add in another 6 or 8 Europa League games plus the travel and stuff like that, it really stretches your squad unless you've made a huge investment. And I think that's where, you know, the results in the Premier League usually go lacking, you know.
Yeah, the Hammers have just taken the lead 2-1. Just to keep you updated. I haven't got the goal score yet. I'll give it to you in a few minutes. And then we've round out the Super Sunday, Crystal Palace versus Man United, Darren.
Not a game I'm looking forward to, if I'm honest. I think that'll be a really, really tough game. I think everybody that goes to Selhurst Park, you know, knows they've been in a game. I think Patrick Vieira has Palace playing really, really well. I think Wilfred Zaha is playing really, really well. I think the boy Anderson at the back is playing really well. So I think that's going to be a tough game. I think after Thursday night, I'd expect, obviously this game's not over, but at the minute it's looking unlikely that we're going to pick up a victory. Probably a draw if we're lucky. And I think it'll be a better performance, but I don't maybe think we'll get 3 points, and I think they'll go for the draw on Sunday. I think they'll go 1-1.
Okay, interesting. Emerson got the goal for West Ham, by the way. And then we go into Monday night, 8 o'clock, Leeds versus Nottingham Forest.
Jesus, you know, he didn't get too many in the Chelsea Blue, did he?
He got one nice one in a I think it was in the Europa League quarters or semis, I believe it was. But yeah, not too many at all.
Europa, huh?
I have to say, I always thought Emerson got hard done by. I didn't think he was that bad, to be honest with you. He's a decent left fullback, to be fair. Better wing back, but always had energy about him. So good to see him. Good to see him thriving there and doing well and getting a start. Always liked the boy.
This one's an interesting fixture, Darren. I was listening to TalkSport this morning, and Simon Jordan was making the point that Brighton could go a hell of a lot more wrong than to chase down Stevie Cooper. But he said it would take an awful lot of convincing to get him out of Nottingham Forest.
7-1. I just checked there, by the way.
Is he 7-1?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Darren Lee, go ahead.
I think that would be a mental move for Cooper after what Forest have done for him as a club. And I don't mean that in any disrespect to Brighton. I just think Brighton over the years have been a selling club. And he's been heavily backed at Forest. He's a man they want. He's a man they want to try and keep happy and stuff like that. I don't think he goes to Brighton, you know, and then has to kind of penny pinch and get guys from here and there. Oh, good save, keeper. Casemiro gone close from about 25 yards into the bottom corner. Sociedad keeper makes a good save, pushes out.
Okay. Right, let's get on to Beat the Bookie, and we shall have a bit of fun with it. I'll start with our resident referee sent in his bets, Mark, or Darren. You might want to his anytime goal scorer for the championship, which is the one you like to guess. Now again, I don't know which team it is because I'm not familiar with it.
That's a plus for United. The boy Taki is going off the pitch.
Okay.
That's a huge,
injured or
huge plus.
Is it injury
no,
or
it looks like they're bringing on somebody either in centre midfield or centre back, maybe even as a 6 to just try and shore things up. United are getting a little bit on the front foot, and the game is very, very open at the minute. But there's a lot of balls in and around the lines between the back 4 and the midfield, and I think Sociedad are putting someone on to try and shore up a little bit. If I'm right.
Here, lads, just a quick one there. Just a quick one. While these were talking, I went on the Paddy Power odds checker there, the latest odds on next Brighton manager. Kettle Knudsen from Bodo Glint 7-2. Steve Cooper 5-1 now. Okay. Felix Mazou from Anderlecht 7-1. Nathan Jones from Luton 9-1. Bruno 10-1. Thomas Frank 10-1. Russell Martin 10-1. So I won't go any further. They seem to be, and the Celtic manager, who Dazzler knows exactly how to pronounce, has also been
Postecoglou.
Postecoglou, yeah, he's up at 7-1 as well. So,
yeah, Darren, you mentioned him yesterday. Remember in our WhatsApp group?
I know that's why I passed it over.
They could do worse than the point Postecoglou. He's been immense for Celtic.
He's been
absolutely immense.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he really has. And none of us thought when Celtic moved for a guy that was in the J League that things were going to go the way they did. But boy, were we wrong, because this guy is absolutely super. Fair play to him. Big shout out to Ange.
100%.
Right, let's get into our resident referee's bets, Mark. So Darren, his treble anytime goal scorer for the championship. We have QPR versus Huddersfield.
Right.
And the price is 21 to 10, so just over 2 to 1. I don't know which team it is now.
Can only really be Huddersfield. Maybe not. Why don't we go? I'll give you one off each team, right? Just because I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's go Danny Ward.
No.
And then let's go Lyndon Dykes.
No. Ilias Chair.
Ilias Chair, yeah. Yeah, he plays for QPR. Yeah, he's good little footballer, that kid.
His second one is a nice price at 9 to 2. It's Cardiff versus Hull.
So then it's Hull, I would imagine. And it might be the boy Estupiñán.
No.
There's another lad plays up front for Hull. No,
it's a long price at 9 to 2 now, so it may not even be a forward guy at that price, would it? Potentially.
Maybe not. Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, 9 to 2 is a long price normally, isn't it, for forwards?
Yeah. Who have we got?
Ozan Tufan.
Yeah, he is a forward. He plays up front for Huddersfield.
This is Cardiff versus
Hull.
For Hull, yeah.
It's Hull he plays for. He plays for Hull. Get in.
Yeah.
Oh, stop.
And the last one then is Blackpool versus Middlesbrough. I presume it's a Blackpool player now, Marky. And it's 13 to 5.
I would imagine so. 13 to 5, so just short to 3 to 1.
3 to 1, yeah.
Medine.
No, Theo Corbinu. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah,
so the treble returns 60 to 1 on that one. Then I'll bring up his
they're
other
big
one.
prices, aren't they?
Yeah, his other anytime goal scorer is in the Premier League, and he's gone for Kevin De Bruyne for Man City against Tottenham. He's gone for Ollie Watkins for Aston Villa versus Leicester, and he's gone for Gabriel Jesus for Arsenal versus Everton. 14 to 1.
Nice.
It's not a bad.
That's not a bad price, is it?
No, not bad at all. And then he went for his United bet, as he always does, his two-legged bet builder, returning 37 to 1 nearly, right? United to win 1-0, and Bruno Fernandes anytime is 36 to 1. That seems like a great price, doesn't it? I'm just looking at there. I can't believe it's nearly 36. It's 36.46 to 1. Can't believe it's that high odds. That's a
price, isn't it?
Huge, I thought. Yeah, for a two-legged bet builder as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll run down through my ones quickly, and then we'll get on to our Champions League moments, and then we'll have a brief discussion about Tuchel and Potter towards the end. Darren, I went for my Saturday ACCA all draws. Fulham versus Chelsea.
You like
Leicester
that
versus
since you got
Villa.
it up a few weeks ago.
And now I am sticking with it. Liverpool versus Wolves and Southampton versus Brentford. What are you thinking on that?
It's 3 draws.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Fulham, Chelsea, Leicester, Villa, Liverpool, Wolves, and Southampton, Brentford. 4 draws.
It's got to be 66 to 1.
230 to 1.
Jesus.
Tidy price.
The boy Charlie McNeil, who United poached from Manchester City a couple of years ago, has just come on to make his debut in the 83rd minute. They've taken off the boy Malacia. They're obviously going 3 at the back for the last few minutes. And the boy Charlie McNeil joins the boy Garnacho in coming on. So that's another debut tonight for United.
Very good. I did a Liverpool bet builder as well, so I did the draw, Jota anytime over 2.5 goals, and both teams to score 28-1. Again, just a lack of confidence there in Liverpool.
Oh God, that's an unbelievable piece of work from Lisandro Martinez. Gets the ball, dribbles it out, just past the halfway line. Plays a little ball to the outside of his left foot to Fred. Fred going down the left wing, cuts the ball back right onto the penalty spot, and Ronaldo comes onto it, and it's just blocked coming back in. It was a really, really good move. Corner United, and it's just been cleared. But that was a great move. Martinez made a huge difference since he came on, other than the penalty. You can even see when you get in. Oh, Jesus Christ! Ronaldo bundled over about 8 yards from goal there.
Yeah,
he's gone down very, very easy. That's the only thing. Ref
I also did one of your favourite bets, Darren, the both teams to score one for Saturday, and I did Fulham and Chelsea.
That's my absolute favourite bet of the week. Result and both to score.
Well, this is just the bout to score one. The result and bout to score is my last one. The bout to score one on Saturday: Fulham, Chelsea, Leicester, Villa, Liverpool, Wolves, and City and Spurs 9-1. And then I did an anytime goal scorer. So I went with my boy Ivan Toney again. Stick with him. I went with Trossard for Brighton, Jota for Liverpool to score against his old team, and Son off Spurs, who's been in pretty poor form. Missed a few last night as well, apparently. But the anytime goal scorer,
form, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, especially on the back of last season. 60-1 for that one. Anytime goal scorers.
I actually can't believe how poor Son has been so far this season, but I do wonder if there's a little bit to maybe how Conte has asked him to play, because obviously Spurs were a team that liked to play on the counter-attack and stuff like that, and while Conte likes to play on the counter, he's still quite like defensive in how he approaches the game, and I don't know whether that's stifling the Spurs attack a little bit for me.
Yeah, big up Daz in the comments there. Big up Niall. I followed your channel on Twitter. Appreciate that, Daz. We're not sure, Daz, whether they're going to go ahead or not. We're not too sure, but we had planned the show, so we're just going ahead as if they are. If they don't, we'll have the show in the bag. It'll be there for people to look at when they do go ahead. If it is going to go ahead, Daz, let us know what you think about the Wolves game in the comments. Let us know your thinking on it as well. We've just been covering it there, and I did a preview as well there about 3 hours ago on the channel for the Wolves game. Darren, I finished out then with your favourite bet, result and both to score. I did Arsenal to beat Everton. I did Brentford to beat Southampton. I did Villa to beat Leicester. And I did Newcastle to beat West Ham. 390-1.
It's a great bet. It's a great bet.
That's a tidy bet.
I love it.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that one.
I love it.
You'd like that one. I think we might ping. Will we ping that one as our charity bet if the matches go ahead?
Absolutely. 390-1. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Good one, wouldn't it?
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's all that I have in terms of bets.
Are you going to play the music when we turn over?
I can't.
No.
You can sing it if you want. I just can't play it because if I play it, we'll be in trouble. But you can sing it if you want.
I just love the Champions League music. It's really weird, and I have to be careful how I say this. But my favourite part of the night at a Champions League game is where the lads stand in the centre circle and shake the big football, and the music comes on. Yeah, that's just spine tingling.
Yeah. I actually went to one. I think there was one in the Aviva, wasn't there? It might have been Dundalk or someone like that, I think was playing maybe. And I went to their game in the Aviva. It was a Champions League one, and I got to see it firsthand in the middle of the pitch with the music and all. And it's really, really cool actually to witness. It's awesome. Like, I constructed that.
A few Liverpool Champions League games, right?
Have I? I was at the Salzburg one, wasn't I? I was at Salzburg, and I think I was at one other. I think, I'm not sure.
88 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. Ronaldo has been taken down 20 yards from goal. The scene is set. It's left of the goal. Ronaldo sets the ball up. He's taken his run up. He's absolutely smashed some bloke in the face. That's a great ball in. Finish it. Oh, he hit an absolute banger right down the throat of the goal, but it smashes one of the defenders straight in the face, goes over to the left-hand side, and he's actually, in fairness to him, put a great ball across to the back post, and Sociedad just cleared their lines. Sociedad have defended very, very well tonight. I wouldn't say United have been anywhere near their best, but I still think the boys Sociedad have defended very, very well. And United didn't, oh no, tackle him. It's about to be 2-0. Come out. Oh, well done. Fred and David De Gea, 3-on-2. United obviously were up the pitch. Maguire goes to kick the ball, misses it completely. The boy Alexander Sorloth heads the ball into his own path, goes by Fred, squares the ball off to the right-hand side, and David De Gea comes out with the feet to make the save. It's a great piece of goalkeeping, and it's great work from Fred because he's got 3 guys running towards him. Maguire is nowhere to be seen because he's Maguire. 3 minutes, says the fourth official, and we're 10 seconds into it now. 2 minutes and 90 to go. We'll stick with you. Keep going, Niall.
Just added 3-1 to West Ham. Mikel Antonio just scored.
3-1.
Yeah, so what we thought to celebrate 30 years of the Champions League, what we thought is we would discuss some of our moments. Yeah, absolutely. Just before I cover that, Daz has come back with his team for Saturday. My lineup will be Alisson, Trent, Matip, Virgil, Costas, Fabinho, Harvey, Melo, Salah, Jota, Nunes, Diaz, Niall, 2-0 if on. No Thiago, Daz. Interesting. He'd be my first name on the sheet after last night, to be honest.
And he wasn't bad last night either, in fairness to him.
No, he came on and changed the game over 20 minutes. But as I said, what we said we'd do is we'd look back at 30 years of the Champions League. It's filled us with some amazing moments. Probably befitting of a couple of shows, to be honest. But yeah, I was going down through it. I don't know how you boys felt looking back at it and stuff like that. It really jogged my memory on some stuff. And of course, we all talk about Istanbul, and we talk about obviously United winning in Munich, and I even in my list, I have Chelsea is in there as well with Drogba and stuff like that and all, and then we obviously have some of the heartbreaking ones as well, the ones that obviously we experienced in Kiev as well, with Salah getting injured and Karius having absolutely shit in the bed. And of course, Ian, you'd remember Terry with the slip on the penalty and stuff like that, and all real heartbreaking ones and stuff like that.
I remember that. That was heartbreaking one.
Yeah, Daz, I'd say you could. Daz, I'd say you could take it to the bank that Milner probably will not play. And I don't even know. Probably he'll be on the bench or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. He might not even make the bench. Who knows? But let's see anyway. So I started out with I went down through a few. As I mentioned, obviously United smash and grab would be on most people's list. Obviously, in the Liverpool comeback in Istanbul would be there as well. But the one that was an interesting one was Liverpool forced UEFA to change the rules to include the winner. Remember when Everton, I think, came fourth and we came fifth, but we had won the competition, and they obviously wanted the winner to represent in the competition and stuff like that. So they changed the rules to suit. So that was one that I put in there. The next two, as I said, was United and Liverpool's comeback in Istanbul. One that you might remember that I put down, Kluivert became the youngest ever final scorer to crown Ajax champions in 1995, if you remember that one. That was an absolutely brilliant one, if I can remember. The next one that I put on my list was Zidane's volley at Hampden in 2002 against Leverkusen. What a goal. What a goal. Unbelievable. And I went back and I looked at all these again as well. Finished 1-0.
It is over Old Trafford. United lose 1-0 at home in the first game of the Europa. Not a terrible performance. Certainly not the one they would have wanted. Ten Hag does not look happy. But the one thing I will say, in the overriding part of this result for me is it's a shocking decision. Now, listen, there's 90 minutes there. If we're good enough, the one bad decision that the ref gives doesn't affect the game. If we're good enough. However, on a night that you're not as at the top of your game, you need referees to do better than they've done tonight. And that's all I'll say about it.
Yeah, I suppose if you look at how he would have set up for that as well, Darren, I know he made a couple of changes as well, but I expect he would have been thinking maybe to put a few goals in there and maybe rest a few guys for Sunday. Probably would have been in the thinking. Shamrock Rovers, just to let you know, we're in the 6th minute of injury time, still 0-0. And I'd say it's all done at West Ham 3-1 by the looks of things.
That'd be a smashing result for Shamrock Rovers, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially at home as well. Ian, the next one I put on the list, I put on it for you because I just remember the energy that this man brought in the celebration and stuff like that. It's an iconic one. Drogba inspired Chelsea to beat Bayern in their own backyard in 2012. One that I think belongs on a list. I just remember the celebration, and I think, am I right, that he scored a goal as well beforehand to bring it to that point as well?
That was the header.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, unbelievable.
That header in the 88th minute was fucking
incredible.
Yeah, bullet header. Neuer had absolutely no chance. And then gave away a penalty about 20 minutes later in extra time.
Yeah.
Better check. Upstep, better check. Dazzler's boy. Yeah.
The next one I had on the list was Ramos rescues Real with a top drawer header in the 9 seconds against Atletico, if you remember, in 2014.
Against Atletico to make it 1-1. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. And Atletico thought they were there or thereabouts, and up stepped Ramos with a header. Again, top drawer. The other one I put on the list, which is a killer for me as well, Bale's brilliance downs Liverpool in 2018. If you remember, it was like like a sort of scissor kiss, bicycle kick kind of thing. And it just sailed
that was
into
the second one
corner.
of the Karius episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And then the one that I put in there, if you remember as well, Lionel Messi's mesmerising solo run. If you remember, I think they beat Real 2-0 in 2011 in the semi-final first leg. Was unbelievable. I think he went through 5 or 6 Real players and slotted the goal home. Absolutely brilliant from Messi. And then, of course, we all remember Ronaldo's bicycle kick. How could we forget it? It looked like it was in slow motion and he just hung in the air to make contact with the ball. Absolutely brilliant. And that was the one, I think it was Real 3-0 against Juventus in 2018, quarterfinal first leg. And then I just rounded it out with one that's close to my own heart. Obviously, corner taken quickly, Origi, where Trent slung it in there to come back against Barcelona at Anfield. That's what I had on the list. Now, I did dig in. I'll let you guys discuss some of your moments as well now. And then what I did was I had a look at what they voted at on the UEFA website. They had a number of categories up there, and they picked 2 for each category in terms of kind of winners and runner-up, stuff like that. So we'll go through them after you boys tell us about your memories in the Champions League. Whoever wants to take it.
You want to go first, or will I go first, pal?
Well, the only one that sticks out, and I'm not going to just click the obvious one, the Chelsea one, Havertz, Drogba, and stuff like that. I remember, when I think of the Champions League and great moments growing up, and you boys will know exactly where I'm coming from with this. You know how big a fan I am of Juventus. I think the one and only cup win in '96 was absolutely fantastic, and they wore the blue. I thought that was a fantastic game, seeing Del Piero, in his absolute prime. That was obviously Vialli's last game for Juventus as well, before he actually came to ourselves, funny enough. I just thought that Juventus team that year were absolutely fantastic. You had Zidane in his prime. I suppose you had Ravanelli leaving. He was the one that got the goal, if I'm not mistaken, Dazzler.
Yeah, he was.
It was just such a great era for football. I remember that season as well. Predrag Mijatovic for Real Madrid, who a lot of people may or may not remember, the Serbian. I think he finished the competition as top scorer that year, actually, funny enough. And that was when we started seeing, Raul becoming the next in line, Yeah, like I just think of moments as well. I think of, if I'm thinking of Chelsea moments, they're not always necessarily, they're not always necessarily the Drogba goal, which Niall, you've already mentioned. That's fantastic. But I remember Wisey getting a late equaliser against AC Milan at the San Siro when we were complete underdogs after Bierhoff put AC Milan in front. I remember that United game, watching it, the Bayern Munich final. It's funny enough how United and Chelsea we had our first final against United, and then we end up winning against Bayern, and first one under Fergie was against Bayern too. But I mean, regardless of what side of the coin you were on in that final, it was just an absolute spectacle to watch. Seeing Sheringham and Solskjaer get those 2 last minute fucking absolute ball shots. Talk about GP. Fucking hell. They stole it. And rightly so. So yeah, look, I think of all the, I think of moments, I think of players playing in the Champions League. I'm with Dazzler as well. That music, it's just something special about it. There's a WrestleMania feel about it in football terms. It's going to be big. And I just think it meant something more back in the day. Maybe I'm just being nostalgic. I just think with lesser teams in it, it meant something a little bit more. Yeah. Dazzler.
Yeah, I just had to do a date check there or a year check. I actually, one of my earliest memories was we went on like our first foreign holiday, and my dad was 50, and the rest of my siblings were all older than me, and they all chipped in a few quid to send him and my mum to Spain. Now I just making the assumption they thought they were going to be landed with me in their lap, but my mum and dad ended up just paying the fare for me to go, and I went with them. But we were in Salou in Spain, which isn't a million miles from Barcelona. We did a day trip actually up to Barcelona. But while we were there, the Champions League final was on. And it was between Real Madrid and Juventus. And I've just looked there. It was 1998. So it was actually the year before United won. And it was
Mijatovic with the winner, right?
And we were in like Mijatovic with the winner, right? And we were actually in like this TV room in the hotel where they had it up on like a screen, like a projector screen.
Yeah.
They had it up on the projector screen. It was just chairs everywhere. Because obviously we were in Spain and it was box office news and stuff like that. And even though we were in kind of Barcelona, I remember then after the game, the camera kind of panned to like, the way they'd show you what was going on in Madrid and stuff like that. And the lads were going around Madrid in the cars, and it was a late goal from Mijatovic and stuff like that. And that was kind of, my big first memory. It was closely followed, obviously, the following year, which was the comeback. I was saying to you, we went to Salou and we did a day trip up to Barcelona, and we went into the Camp Nou and stuff like that. And obviously a year later, United were in the final there in the Camp Nou, and we beat Bayern. We dug ourselves out of a grave, which we'd done many times that season. I think, like, obviously the FA Cup game against Liverpool, you guys were 1-0 up with minutes to go on Old Trafford, and we got that. We nicked it as well, remember? Which obviously sent us on to the treble, and then this was the third leg. Bayern had won the German Cup and had won the German League as well. So Bayern were actually going for a treble as well. And obviously the comeback was immense. Other ones that kind of stick in the memory, I was at the semi-final in the year we won it, which would have been 2005, 2007, 2008. And we beat Barcelona in the final. We drew 0-0 in the Camp Nou. And we brought it back to Old Trafford. Barca had those kind of greeny, aqua green colours, the tealy colour jersey on them.
Yeah.
And Paul Scholes put one in from like 30 yards. It kind of bobbled up just before he was about to let fly, and he shinned it a little bit, and it flew into the top corner past Victor Valdez. I was at that game. That was just like unbelievable. We beat Barca 1-0 over the 2 legs, and at that stage, Barca were big business. So to beat Barca, you were really doing well, And I suppose and two more huge memories for me were actually the two finals we lost to Barca in Wembley and in Rome. Obviously the game in Rome was 2-0, and the second goal is obviously Messi's header. He's the smallest player on the pitch, and he wins the header to score the goal. It was just unbelievable. I've really I think obviously we're all big football fans and stuff, and obviously in the leagues we play in, we have the teams we support. But I just think the Champions League has just given us so many great memories with the likes of Barcelona, Real, Inter, Juve, AC Milan, Ajax, all of those great clubs, Bayern Munich, United, Liverpool over the years. It's a special competition. It really is. And there's been so many highlights. I think most of you've mentioned a lot of mine. I have a really big memory of that Liverpool goal, that one, Trent Alexander-Arnold to that was just brilliant. Like, even as a United fan, I was like, holy shit, that was unbelievable. Not the comeback. The comeback was obviously unreal, but just the way everyone shut down, everybody knocked off, and two guys in that stadium knew what was going to happen, and everybody else stood, and time stood still, and it's a very, very special moment. The one other one that's really, really fresh in my memory, and it's a good while ago, right? I'm gonna have the list here in front of me. Is that Ajax team? That Ajax team with the likes of Edwin van der Sar, Clarence Seedorf, Edgar Davids, Patrick Kluivert, and Michael Reisiger, Winston Bogarde, there's so many, Overmars. There was so many good footballers in that team, and to see them get over the line, and then to see the way that Ajax team kind of dispersed, and all of those players went on to be, huge superstars. They played for Barcelona's, they played for Chelsea's, they played for United's, Liverpool's, they played for all of the big clubs in the world, and it was brilliant because when you see a team like that who wasn't necessarily, it didn't cost not an awful lot of money for them to put that team together, because it was the core of them was the Ajax youth, and then to see the way they went on to influence world football, not just European football but world football, because they did it on a World Cup level as well, and it was just that was pretty special as well. So Ajax at the top of my list.
It's gas, isn't it, when you go back and you look at what those players were sold for at the time, and the fees and all, and you think about where we are today, and it's whatever it is, 20 odd years
Niall,
on.
Can I mention one as well? And it's just because of the moment, actually. If you remember, I can't, Dazzler, you might be able to recall the year.
I have something.
It was the year Celtic beat Barcelona at Celtic Park, remember? Well, Barcelona were still Barcelona.
That wasn't that Nakamura with Tony, the free kick?
No, Tony Watt, a young lad, a young striker at the time from Celtic. That was about 2008, 2009, but they beat Barcelona. It was in a group stage game now, but that was the famous moment where you saw Rod Stewart crying in the press box. That they are the sort of moments that for a Celtic fan they will live on forever. That's what and the reason I'm mentioning that is because it's going back to Dazzler's point about how special that competition is, where that moment can be a fan's memory forever. And they didn't even need to lift the cup.
Yeah, and I know the league is your bread and butter and stuff like that, but the Champions League just is a special place, and a special competition. If you look at it last year, we've spoken about Celtic there, obviously, and the way their fans enjoyed that night. What must it have been like last year for the likes of Sheriff Tiraspol beating Real Madrid? That's a really I saw a little documentary on that recently on the boys, on the UEFA highlights from the Champions League, actually, on the plane home from Portugal, and it's a small club. They were set up by their owner and stuff like that. They'd come up through the ranks and stuff, and you just looked at this and you just thought, these guys beat Real Madrid. Like, it's the stuff of fantasy, really. But it's why we go and watch football, because if we played on paper, it'd be a really, really boring game. And the Champions League, it's given us so many special moments and so many special players. It really, really has.
Yeah, it's just it's there's something very special about it, all right, without a doubt, between the music and the build up to the matches and all that kind of stuff, and it's just really special. Ted's in the comments, bit like getting here this week, lads. Was watching the United game. Not a bother, Ted. We understand. Good to have you on board. Let us know, Ted, if you have any Champions League memories.
Yeah, and let us know. I know Ted's a United fan, but Ted, penalty or no penalty?
Yeah, give us your thoughts.
Penalty
on the
or no
game
penalty
as well.
tonight, Ted? Thanks. Would appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you a quick rundown of the categories on the UEFA website and what came out of it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Some I kind of remember and some I don't. I know Darren, you and Ian will remember some of them as well as we go through it. But they had down 2 for the best free kicks. One was 100% no penalty, Ted is saying.
I just saw the replay myself on my phone, by the way, there, lads.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever, ever in a million years a penalty. Never.
I haven't seen it yet. It's 100% a penalty. Just putting that out there. There you go. The silent minority here. I got to keep it 100, man. I got to keep it 100. So best free kicks. The 2 that came out, Darren, you'll enjoy one of these, but one was Lionel Messi's.
Okay. Go on,
yeah, one was. I'll let you call the other one if you want, because you should know it anyway. But the first one was Lionel Messi's. The dead ball
in the camp now, wasn't it?
No, it isn't. But the first one was the 3-0 against us. Remember when he scored the third goal against Alisson? And we thought we had absolutely thrown our chances away before going back to Anfield. But what a free kick from Messi. And again, another one that felt like it was in slow motion. And he put it right into that top corner, that only place that a keeper can't get it.
Fuck that little Argentinian midget. Zola done that against Barcelona in 1998 after Flo went fucking 2 up ahead of him. That's all I'm saying about that.
Yeah, I just want to explain to you, this is UEFA's voted on list, not my list.
I'm only joking.
No bother. Darren, what do you think the second one was? Very close to home, and a man that's still playing for you now who went back. I wonder if you remember which one it is.
Which Ronaldo free kick? I would have said Ronaldo's best free kicks. One of them was the one against Portsmouth in the league game. We won 2-0. He got both of them. I was at the game.
This is Champions League.
Yeah, I'm trying to think Champions League. He scored a screamer against Arsenal.
Oh, yes. Go on.
Free kick against Arsenal?
Free kick against Arsenal. 3-1 in 2009. Semi-final, second leg. That's the one that got in there. Yeah, right. They're the 2 that made it in. And when you think about it, I mean, there's been hundreds of amazing free kicks when you think about it in the Champions League.
Yeah, that's not a great free kick. That's not a great one. Do you know who
they're the 2.
When you mention the 2 words, right? Or more words. Champions League, that's 2. And free kick.
Yeah.
There's only one player that comes to mind for me. Can anyone tell me who it is?
Del Piero. No, Pavel Nedved, no?
No, absolutely not. There's only one player that comes to mind when I hear the words Champions League and free kick.
Not your man from Lazio, fucking.
Absolutely not. Mihajlovic, no.
Oh, Juninho from
the boy Juninho from Leon. What a free kick taker that kid was.
I knew I'd get it.
Oh my God.
I knew I'd get it.
What a free kick taker that boy was.
He actually, that lad, do you remember every single week when you look at the highlights after your match, Juninho
he'd be putting one in 25 years.
And he wouldn't score. He wouldn't score in league. Oh, but he'd fucking keep all his free kicks for
every week in the Champions League. He put one in the top corner from 30 yards over 4 blokes. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Ted back in the comment bounced off his tie and into his arm, and he was leaning backwards. Yeah, it sounds like it was a tough one, Ted.
We've established that, Ted. Come on, we're moving on.
Kane, my man from Liverpool and stuff like that. What's the story, lads? Not looking good for the weekend. Looks like all the games are going to be off. It's going to be a nice restful weekend for podcasting. So
looks like the football is dead and buried for the weekend. Pardon the pun.
Champions League moments. Obviously, the United treble season, and one that might not have been mentioned. Porto winning it. Yeah, good show with Jose. We remember the celebrations.
Oh, that's a good show. That's a good show. The famous moment where he runs down the touchline in Old Trafford after Tim Howard's coughing up for us.
Absolutely. Great, and then the bastard did it at Anfield. But I'm not going to get into that. Remember, he did it at Anfield as well.
Oh, I remember very well. Sorry, but I don't.
Darren remembers it real
I'm being friendly here. Come on.
Absolutely. Let's move on. The best saves. Probably remember this one. All Blacks treble save. Remember the 3-1? The 3-pronged resistance against Atletico. Atletico versus Leverkusen 0-0 2017. The round of 16 second leg.
Yeah.
What a keeper. What a keeper. The other one you guys might remember, I'm not too familiar with, but they have it in here. It's Coupe's header and recovery. Barcelona 2, Lyon 0, 2001. First group stage.
Gregory Coupe. And he flicks the ball onto the crossbar with his head.
Yes.
Okay.
Fuck, I do remember that, actually. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I do remember
that. Was one I just didn't get a chance to look back at it. Yeah, but that's in there anyway as best.
Do you remember check save against Barros, Niall? Remember that famous one when he reached across with his left? He actually had to come across with his hand. That was fucking. That was the first time we'd seen that kind of save where, one of the on a big occasion where he came across with his left, where it looked like it would have been easier to use his right hand.
Yeah,
and it was going right in the top fucking bin. And I remember sitting in the pub with a Liverpool fan watching that, and he was like, "What the?"
I remember looking. I remember when they played the pitch view of it when he had shot. You couldn't even see Check in the picture, and out of nowhere, this hand came out of nowhere to cleave the ball. Yeah, absolutely. Remember it well. Yeah, absolutely.
There's two headers that come to mind, and they're both. Sorry, not headers. There's two saves, and they're both from the same guy. Both from headers. And one of them, I suppose, it didn't get any higher up the list purely because it was a group stage game. So there wasn't maybe an awful lot riding on it. But United went away to Rapid Vienna. I think it was about 2000. No, it'd have been 98, something like that, maybe. Year before we won the Champions League, roughly. And we were away at Rapid Vienna. And the ball came into the box. Bullet header from the lad, buried it into the turf, and it was under Peter Schmeichel's feet, and he got down a la Gordon Banks and flicked it over.
You can say he flicked it over the bar. I think is what Dazzler's just frozen there for a second. It's probably internet.
Frozen there for a second,
Yeah, I think I know what he's saying. He went down and he had that like cat-like reactions and just flicked it over the bar. I think I remember the save.
Absolutely.
Wasn't he he was unreal for that, Noel, wasn't he? Schmeichel, just those reactionary, like fucking just spreading his body at the right time. Yeah, he was actually
absolutely.
Highlight reels of Peter Schmeichel, like they're a must watch for any.
You're back.
You're back.
You're back. Yeah, sound like you're back. Yeah. We were talking about Schmeichel, Darren, and so many reactory saves, and he was kind of the guy who kind of nearly invented, the use of every bit of your body and stuff like that in terms of spreading yourself and stuff like that and all. He was a thorn in a lot of team sides.
The second one, I don't know whether you heard me, was against Ivan Zamorano in the quarterfinal, and the same thing. Ball came to the back stick, and he put the header in, and he. And got it with his left hand. It was fucking ridiculous.
I remember that. Yeah, he literally put the whole body out like a fucking
He jumped like a star and like flapped his arms. And just managed to claw it out.
Yeah. I remember that one. Do you remember Zamorano? He was always number 9, so he went for what did he have on his jersey?
It was 8+1, was it? Or was it 9+0?
8+1. Yeah. They gave him the number 81, and he put a little plus in the middle of them.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah.
Chilean, great player.
Interesting one that you'll probably debate on this one. The best comebacks. Obviously, they have Istanbul in there, the 3-3. But they've put in there in second place now. Darren, I probably would have put 99 in there, but They put in there Barcelona stunned Paris Saint-Germain. Barcelona 6, Paris Saint-Germain 1. 2017, the round of 16, second leg. Now I probably would have had United in more so than that.
Well, I'm just saying I'll second that, Niall. I have United in there without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the two that they voted on anyway. So that's what came true.
Well, I mean, like if you think of it, United had 3 minutes to score 2 goals.
Yeah,
it's to get 4. Now I know they got 6 in the end, but
to win a Champions League, win it as well, a final.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's
much more ratcheted up pressure. Yeah, that's what's in there. I was shocked by it as well.
That's a reason to get those two Raggedy Ann fuckers into the into the mix. Yeah.
But they're never out of it. Here's the best goals. The 2 best goals that were voted on, right? The one that I mentioned earlier, Ronaldo's bicycle kick against Juventus in the quarter-final first leg, and Messi's solo run against Real in the semi-final in 2011. They were voted the two best goals.
That goal against Real was one of those goals. I started clapping and all, if you remember right.
Yeah.
Like they were just about this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's where you look at someone like this lad is literally like from outer space. Yeah.
It was like, when you're watching it and it's like slow motion and he beats the first guy and you just know he's going to score and beat 4 others. And it's just no one could stop him the way it was played and the way he just went through them. I remember the ball came into Messi, and he was in full run and he picked up the ball and just went through them. It's an amazing goal. And the Ronaldo one, I said to you already, like the hang time on that bicycle kick, it was like he was in midair before the ball even came near him. Yeah. Unbelievable.
He almost looks like he's hovering at that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Unreal.
It's scary.
Best assists. The one that we spoke about, Trent, obviously the corner taken quickly. Is number 1. And the other one that's in there, Ian, as well, is Kaká's ultimate true ball. AC Milan 3, Liverpool 3.
I remember it.
Yeah, absolutely incredible.
Fucking hell.
They were the assists. Was that the ball through for Crespo? Was it?
Crespo, yeah. Right. And he dinked it over the keeper, yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. Most memorable celebrations. And of course, the Jose one is in there, of course. and Didier Drogba's trophy dash against Bayern. They were the 2 that were in there as most memorable celebrations. And then the best skills. They had a best skills one in there as well. And it was Messi's flick. Barcelona 3, Arsenal 1. 2011, the round of 16, second leg. Messi's flick. I'm not sure. I'm trying to jog my memory on that one now. And the other one, interesting enough, was Ozil. Mesut Ozil scoop. Arsenal 3-2 away to Ludogorets in 2016 in the group stage. That one I think is a bit more familiar to me, but
that's where he gets the lob wedge out and just hooks a ball over a lob and drops it on a play for someone.
Yeah, that's the one. So that's the categories that they voted on, and that's what came true. I'm sure we could have a show debate nearly every one of those categories and probably come up with a few better ones. Ted is back in the comments again. Is Carrier's performance not listed as one of the most memorable goalkeeping performances? I wouldn't have called it memorable. Forgettable, maybe. Maybe most forgettable moments. We could do that maybe again sometime.
Ted has seen Morris's comments here and decided to do his old pal a favour and go in on you, Niall. Here.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm an easy target at the moment, so I don't mind.
What did they say, Ian? He's gone into business for himself.
He's gone hangman page on this shit.
we might disagree on net spend, but we agree on a few things. Me and Ted, he's great. Let's get into this. We're going to round out the show. Quick chat about this. I don't know what Sky Sports would have done yesterday if Thomas Tuchel hadn't been fired and Graham Potter hadn't been on his way to London. Would have been a very slow news day with the sound of things. Ian, I'll get your thinking in a minute. Darren, give me your thoughts.
First thought is down yesterday, because otherwise we did not get to see a bar of it with the Queen kicking the bucket, you know.
Yeah.
I'm glad it happened yesterday, let's put it that way. I think...
Boy, did Freddie Mercury really pass? That wasn't a joke, no?
Apparently not. I got lots of things I have to say now. Yeah, Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea saga, let's call it. What I will say is Chelsea have acted swiftly here, and I think Chelsea have really, really, really made a very, very. I think this is a guy, and I looked at this quite. If you look at that Brighton squad, you've got the likes of a Tarek Lamptey, ex-Chelsea, Levi Colwill. You've got
Gilmore.
Mark Cucurella, Billy Gilmore, Mark Cucurella, ex-Barcelona. Like, it was put together very, very odd. I think, you know, when Todd Bowley and he decided they were going to change manager and they're going to go down this route of this more holistic approach and maybe this more approach, I think going and looking at somebody like Graham Potter, really, really clever move, because I think Potter does something that maybe a lot of managers aren't doing these days, which is Potter makes good and he makes better players really good. And I looked at, you know, from Chelsea. So I think guys from our academy who couldn't get a look in with our first team, that games with Brighton, we may be looking at them going, do we have a buyback clause? Yeah. You've got the wrong man in charge of the ship, which is Thomas Tuchel. And then it brings you to who, you know, is giving these lads a platform to go and put careers, because he has something that a lot of people don't have. He has foresight. Lots of people have that, and he can see what players can do. He's not somebody that's going to say no. He's a guy that's going to look at somebody and go, what could I make of them? What could I do with a guy? Could they fit into my system? And I think, you know, when you look at Chelsea have spent in the summer, I don't necessarily think they've spent it all very, very well. Amount of money, but I think the likes of the younger lads, the Chukwuemikas, the Casadi, I think that's the way Todd Bowley wants to try and run Chelsea. Sustainable sort of an asset and business. And I don't think you can do that when all you're doing is buying 50, 60, 70 million pound players. I think you've got to be able to create your youth squad. You've got to be able to buy these lads. You know, buying Andy Roberts, turn him into one of the best left backs in the world. You know, buy a Mark Cucurella from Getafe, best left backs in the world. You know, these things are possible and it's plausible, but you need a certain do it. And I think Graham Potter's one of those guys, you know. I do.
Yeah, good shout. The one thing I'd say about Potter before I go to Ian, because it directly affects Ian being a Chelsea fan, but the one thing I like about Graham Potter is that I don't think there's a player that plays from that goes onto a pitch and doesn't know exactly what his job is. There is no doubt going onto that pitch. Every single player in their position knows what the expectation is and what their job is, and I think that's going to be huge for Chelsea. Ian, give us your thoughts, because obviously this all exploded yesterday morning, especially on our WhatsApp group, and we were all going back and forward, all sorts of stuff being sent, and you were kind of a little bit late to the party. You suddenly went, jumped on, and you were in there full bore then. But from listening to journalists today, it sounded like this had been on the cards a while. This wasn't a trigger reaction to the Zagreb result at all.
Well, firstly, I want to say, people that don't know our WhatsApp group, me and Dazzler are usually winding each other up. Sometimes it's quite mad, but it's always fun at the end of the day. We always kiss. Not really kiss, but
kissing. We always.
But I concur with every single thing Dazzler has said. absolutely tenfold. And you'll remember, guys, I think Dazzler, you were the first one to respond to what I had said. I said there's absolutely more to this than just Thomas Tuchel being sacked because of a couple of bad results. And the thing was, I wasn't just hanging my hat on one journalist or two journalists or three journalists. It was listening to a couple of reliable ones that have been around the Chelsea camp since the summer because they were actually over there, i.e. Matt Law, Jacobs, but mainly Ornstein and Matt Law. They were two guys that were really, and Simon Phillips. They in particular had been around the camp, and had said that there was signs that Tuchel was starting to do what he had done near the end of Dortmund and towards the end with Paris Saint-Germain. And I said on my own show last night on a Chelsea Roar, it's all well and good and coming out and saying, I'll drive the team bus, wherever we need to go. You know what I mean? At a time when, in fairness, we did need Tuchel, and I appreciate that. I'm a major Thomas Tuchel fan. But then when you get someone coming in and willing to back you in the market and buying these players and going, hang on a minute, you're telling me you don't want Ronaldo who can score your goals, but you want Aubameyang because you worked great with him a couple of years back. Like, what's the method here? And apparently him and Bowley were at loggerheads on that because I think Todd Bowley unfairly was getting a lot of the blame from the likes of pundits like Neville and all these guys, mainly Neville.
Honest, Ian, Ronaldo's a woeful signing for Chelsea. Absolutely woeful.
But I mean, what I'm saying is
for Tuchel to fight his corner on that and say, track back, I don't want a guy who doesn't put the effort in. I don't want a guy who's going to cause trouble here. Like, I certainly don't. I certainly wouldn't find, if I was a manager and Ronaldo was being landed in my lap, this issue with it as well. I have to be honest with you. I really would.
I'm not saying I'm not dying on this hill on the Ronaldo one, right? And I get your point 100%. I'm not dying on that hill. Yeah. But that was one of the many things. But one of the other things that they were disagreeing on was his development of young players. For example, Tuchel wanted, and this is fact, Tuchel wanted to sell Colwill. He didn't see him fitting into his plan. It was Bowley then that said, no, we'll do a loan deal. It was Tuchel, as we all know now, that wanted Billy Gilmore gone. And they sold him for 9 million in the end. So, and then obviously Hudson-Odoi, didn't see Hudson-Odoi as a fit. I think they were looking at this going, we don't really see a future with this guy actually developing our young players here. He's going to expect that 40, 50, 60 million signing every time something's not going right.
Purchases,
yeah. Exactly. And then we're going into Mourinho territory and Antonio Conte territory. Do you know what I mean? So I think Todd Bowley, this was a culmination of everything and looking at the trends, I suppose, and going, this isn't right. And then we hear that whoever was advising Bowley obviously knows their football because Graham Potter had been a name on the list for quite a while now that we're hearing from Matt Law and from Ornstein, who's a great journalist, and from Romano. This is something that he had been thinking about for quite a while. And so, again, it's Tuchel's hostility. I don't know whether it's a German thing. Listen, I work for a German company. They can be hostile motherfuckers when they want to be. And that's no knock on them. It's just they're set in their ways, and that's it.
Let's be honest, they started a fucking world war as well. So,
There you go. There you go.
Not only that, Ian, if you remember on the Chelsea Roar that we did where Tuchel was appointed, we mentioned that this could be the stumbling block. That fractured relationship that happens with management and with owners.
And look, it's the same thing with Mourinho. It's the same thing with Conte. There's a 2-year period. There's always a love in. There's a love fest. The fans fall in love with him. And then usually, the club or the people that make these decisions are the bad guys. We've seen it with Roman time and time again. But I want to finish on a positive from my perspective. I agree with what Dazzler said. I was actually very, very impressed with Potter in terms of his list of demands, and there was 4 in particular, and one stood out. He wants to be active in A, the contract negotiations of players, and B, the purchasing of players. So this is where Ornstein has said that this new director of football, sporting director, whatever you want to call it, some believe it's Edwards, that Bowley's had conversations with Edwards, hence why they haven't got someone in yet, because he wants the year sabbatical, whatever. And I mean, if you look at someone like Edwards or someone of that ilk, they're 100% going to want to work with someone like a Graham Potter, right? 100,000,000%. Giving him a 5-year contract, bringing his staff in. I don't care whether it costs 21 million to bring the staff in. I do not care. That's an investment in your future. And just like Dazzler rightly said, us Chelsea fans are sick of looking at the fucking Livramentos and the Lampteys and the Gilmores and the Caldwells of this world fucking off to other teams and going,
Conor
Gallagher, yeah, luckily we still have Gallagher.
Goes on and on.
On
really
and
does.
on and fucking on. And here's another one. Broja. Apparently Broja was a player that Bowley had to fight Tuchel on as well. And it was Todd Bowley that said, look, we actually believe that you're something special. And that's obviously Bowley talking to his under 21s and his under 18s and, these guys. And I just wonder, because we all saw that tweet from John Terry about 2 weeks ago going, how good is Graham Potter? You know what I mean? You're going, there's something in the works there. Yeah. So I just, for the first time in a long time, I'm upset that Tuchel's gone because I absolutely love the guy. I really am. But I'm a Chelsea Football Club fan, not a Thomas Tuchel football fan. You know what I mean? Like, I've had this before. My first big major fucking managerial sacking that got me as a kid was Gianluca Vialli, right? Then we had Jose Mourinho come in. That killed me when he went. Then he came back, killed me again. Di Matteo came in. That absolutely fucking killed me. Antonio Conte, one of my favorite players, that killed me. Lampard, you bring your legend back. That absolutely kills you. And it goes on and on and on. This is the first, managerial appointment where I'm looking at the club and I'm actually going, yes, this is actually an appointment that has a long-term planning behind it and a bit of a vision. So time will tell, but I'm absolutely over the moon with it.
Yeah, I think it was last week or the week before.
Of all the United managers that left, other than Fergie, all of them fucking head out of the building. Giggs, Solskjaer, Van Gaal, Moyes, fucking delighted. The only time I've been very, 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 is Tuchel or is Ten Hag, and it's taken me, it's taken almost 8 years to get to that point where I felt, all right, this is a good appointment. We're really in the right direction. I cried rivers when I heard fucking Mourinho got the United job because it was going to be boring fucking Arsenal, basically, because of the pragmatic. It was at the first game I had as a United season ticket holder. We drew 0-0. We played a false nine. They had Andre Schürrle playing as a false nine. And I don't in the whole game. I don't even think they had a shot in the whole game. No. And all of a sudden, 2-3 years later, we've got, I'm like, lads, hold on a minute here. This is fucking mental. And then you have to go through the Nemanja man, these kind of guys. He likes to bring in the older lads, and you're just thinking, we, one of the best academies in the world, and we've got kids coming out of our ears that we've been from young players. We've been picking up the best of players, and we've been giving them an opportunity. We just stifle that by bringing a guy like Jose Mourinho in. It's mental, and trying to be a little more self-sufficient with obviously financial fair play and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'll just say one thing on what David Sean Denta said. I've read that and I get it. I'll go back to one of Dazzler's points, and the thing is, even though me and Dazzler might wind each other up, I fucking really respect his kind of analytical approach to looking at football and looking at managers and understanding how managers approach the game and stuff like that. And I know, Dazzler, you've been a massive fan of both you and Niall have been a massive fan of Potter for a while. And when I looked at a video yesterday, someone sent a video to me. It was on Twitter. And it said, this player isn't suddenly shit. And it was a video of Kai Havertz, and you look at why Chelsea bought Kai Havertz. And something you said really stuck out to me there. When you have a Graham Potter in there, if he's playing a Kai Havertz, this goes for any other player that's playing in a certain position, he is going to know exactly what role he needs to fulfill every single time. That's it. The attack looked like the last thing on Tuchel's mind for a long time. And don't forget, the tail end of last season was bad results as well. I happened to be at one of them. Brentford 4-1 at Stamford Bridge. That's unacceptable. And then it also became where the defence don't even look like they know what they're doing. Whereas I look with Potter here and you're going, these players will know exactly where they need to be at every single moment while they're on the pitch. They'll know their role, and hopefully they shut their mouth, no pun intended. Yeah. And that's all you can really ask for in a manager, you know?
Yeah, it's a kind of a weird one, because I think most football fans out there kind of revere Graham Potter, and they hold him up to a certain level as well, and they have a lot of respect for him and stuff like that. So the conundrum is how they're going to feel, obviously, and react when he moves to Chelsea. And the reaction is probably as much about how successful he might end up being at Chelsea, as much as losing him for Brighton and how we revere him and stuff like that. I think it's a massive opportunity for him. I think if they're true to their word, and it is going to be stability, and it's not going to be.
But it's not Roman Abramovich. People need to get that out of their head. Oh, Chelsea have a history of doing this. Chelsea have a history of doing that. Chelsea have a history of doing this. He's in a fucking club 100 days. 100 days. And he's already made an assessment on a coach who has a history. If we want to talk about history, yeah, the coach that they've just gotten rid of has a history of being 2 and 3 years in a job and then falling out with the board. So automatically the board have acted on that, looked long-term and said, let's get a young manager in here for our sustainability. Bowley, if we look at what he's done with the LA Dodgers, same thing. We'll spend lots of money real early on in the first 2 years for long-term success.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
We can't. I just want these pundits and these fucking experts to, shut their mouth for a little minute and go, right, yeah, they're American. Take away their fucking nationality for a while and actually look at what they're trying to do here. I think this is a very, very calculated decision, not knee-jerk in any way, shape, or form.
But you're also talking with any appointment in any position, in any company, in any job, it's a results-driven business.
Of course it is.
And it has the potential to go really, really well.
But he's not Roman Abramovich, so we need to stop, get that out of our heads.
But he is also a very successful businessman, and he has a demand there. He demands success, and he will demand results. And again, that's kind of the unknown. But he's putting in place some of the parts to get to that point and stuff like that. And one of them is this manager, right? Absolutely. But there's no guarantees, as we know. There's no guarantees at all that you appoint a manager and it works out, or it does or it doesn't, or
I get that,
or it's a fit. We don't know.
I get that.
But it's an opportunity you couldn't refuse. Absolutely.
Of course. And I get that. But all I am saying is very, very simply, we need to get this idea, and I understand it's very hard for some people, but get this idea out of the head that it's Marina and it's Abramovich and it's Abramovich 2.0. Well, listen, if it's Abramovich 2.0, well, then Chelsea are going to be successful, right? So pick one. But it's not going to be Abramovich 2.10, in my opinion, based on what I'm seeing so far, and we're all guilty of, following our club closely more than we would follow, say, the outside world. Me in particular, Dazar's called me out on it before, and he's 100% right. But what I'm seeing so far tells me that this guy is not having any of this bullshit, and he's basically cut the cord very, very quickly, in my opinion. And I think it makes a lot of sense to me, even though it upsets me a little bit, because I repeat, I am a Tuchel fan.
Yeah. I suppose the thing, talking to you, Darren, I suppose the thing that disappoints me, and we'll probably end on this, is I was looking forward to his first starting 11 against Fulham on Saturday. and how he would go about that and how he would set Chelsea up.
Actually, I want to hear this, what Dazzler would say too. Fair enough, because he knows him more than me.
So that's what I was kind of excited about, to see his first 11 and how he would approach it and stuff.
Well, I mean, I think things. So, I mean, typically Brighton would play with 3 centre backs. We know that's how Chelsea have been playing under Tuchel. So this be a huge change from that. They'll go in with obviously Thiago's dunk role, which is that central centre back, and then he'll go in and he'll go in with Koulibaly flanking him. You'll have Marc Cucurella as the left, only too well, and you'll have Reece James on the right. I think through the midfield, I think that's where you see changes. Is Kovacic fit yet, Ian?
He played the full 90 there during the week.
That's right.
Yeah, so Kovacic for me, I think, much bigger role under Potter.
Would you think? I was going to ask you that actually. Would you think that Kovacic would be a Potter type player?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know who I think won't be a Potter type player? I think Jorginho's in real danger now.
I think so too.
I think you're probably looking at somebody like he likes somebody that and maybe hold the ball up so that the midfield can, and then they press from there, and they press with the likes of Trossard and Mwepu, Kasheda. He's got lots of young lads in there with lots of legs, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Kovacic. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a return for N'Golo Kante. I wouldn't be surprised to see Conor Gallagher. I wouldn't be surprised to see Raheem Sterling. I think Armando Broja is nailed on. I think he's nailed on. I think he's exactly the kind of week. I think he'll run those channels. He'll hold the ball.
Dazzler, interesting as well that he tried to sign Ruben Loftus-Cheek this summer as well.
I was just about to mention him. He could be one that would really flourish.
I think there's lots of guys at Chelsea now that will have it, and I think they'll go, "Wow, we're really in with a chance here," you know. Now, and obviously, we mentioned it yesterday in the WhatsApp group. Going on 2 players leaving Brighton and signing for Chelsea. Going players. Number 1 is the boy Robert Sanchez, because if Chelsea need a goalkeeper, and because of the way Potter likes to build from the on someone that can use his feet, the boy Sanchez is very good with his feet. He plays.
Do you think you play Kepa for the moment? Then do you think rather than Mendy?
I don't think he's that stupid.
Okay.
But, I think, you know what? Is the boy Slanina there yet, or is he still on loan to?
No, he's in January. He's in January.
Yeah, I think he'll look at the boy Slanina in January. Be a viable option, but I think if not, I think the boy Robert Sanchez, because I think he's been Brighton. He's been one of their best players week in, week out, and any of the fantasy football fans will know that. And I think the other one that they'll really, really look at is the boy Kasheda, who United were heavily linked to last year. It looked like he's an Ecuadorian international. Valencia put United onto him. United didn't press the button on him. Brighton came in, made this 8-10 million, something like that. Chelsea will stump up 30 to 40 for this kid in January. I will. And he's a serious footballer. He's exactly what you need in there in that midfield. And he's still young. You get a solid 6-8 years for this kid in the midfield. He'd be a bargain, and he's exactly what Potter looks for. Keep the ball.
Just got a text from a mate of mine, Chelsea fan, that said that this is the last summer as well where Tariq Lamptey's release clause, the clause that they put in, the buyback clause, should I say, kicks in. So you
could pop in it. You guys don't have a backup to Reece James, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if Tariq Lamptey out, for what 12-15 million, it's possibly something to Chelsea to balance against having Cucurella and Chilwell on the other side. I expect lots of young players, lots of players with legs, lots of players that are willing to learn manager. I don't think Chelsea are going to buy any big superstars in the near future. I think they'll all be guys where, on the surface of it, some Chelsea, why are we signing this guy? And then they might go, oh, well, why are we signing this guy? But the pieces of the puzzle working together, they'll go, now we know why you went for that guy, or now we know why you went for that guy, because they'll have very, very specific roles in his system. And that's what he does. He buys guys that can play a particular role. Cucurella was obviously having a great time at Getafe from Barcelona, but there wasn't a lot of clubs linked with him. But Brighton went in there, they worked a charm. They went in there, they paid 15 million. They obviously cashed in there at the minute for like 60. So they've made serious money on this. And I think they brought in the left back. There's one playing up front for Hull at the minute, and there's one playing left back for Brighton. And again, super signing. I think he cost them about 6 million, under the radar. A guy that can fill a role, not a big superstar, not a big name, but a guy in a particular role. And that's how I see Graham Potter changing the dynamics at Chelsea.
One more question for you then, Dazzler. One more question for you and Niall, because Niall, I know you're very well versed on him too. In terms of his front line, then you mentioned Broja, who I'm excited about because I think he's money. I think he's absolute money, especially with a good team around him. Who do you see? Do you see the likes of Havertz and Mount and players like that being players that he's going to like to work with? Pulisic, do you think?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of managers like Pulisic, but the issue has been he hadn't been able to keep himself fit. I think Mount's thoughts. I think Mount's a super footballer, and he'll team when he's on his form. I think Sterling, I think he likes to break like that very, very quickly and possession of the ball high up the pitch. I think Sterling does that very well. Even from the days at Man City, he the furthest forward. He broke. He kept the ball. He'd drag it left. He'd drag it right. He'd wait for people to pop, and then he'd look for a return. I mean, how many times did we see Sterling score a goal from inside the width, and it was a tap in? And I think that's the kind of thing that Chelsea want from Sterling. It hasn't happened. I think that's what, when they signed him, that's what they were hoping for. And I think with he's a big physical presence. He runs the channels really, really well. A goal. Typically, Potter strikers don't necessarily have to get lots of goals. He uses them to allow the wider players a little more free, occupying one or two. Like Danny Welbeck has played up front for Brighton quite a bit underground. His goal ratio is absolutely terrible. But if you look behind him, Trossard, McAllister, Maupay, and Mwepu, Pascal Gross have all been able to get goals off the work of Danny Welbeck.
Yeah. He nearly uses his strikers as a decoy, as opposed to being an out-and-out striker. Yeah, he's so clever that way in the way he sets
very clever. And that's what I see him doing with Broja.
Yeah, and I honestly do. I think we're going to see as well, because I've seen a lot of people say it today as well. I think that's where we're going to see the potential of the likes of Koi and Mount and possibly Pulisic, players like that. I don't see a Ziyech being a Potter type player. I don't see a Ziyech being an anyone type player at the moment, because he's just he's a moment player, and I know he's a very, very talented footballer. And I know Dazzler, you liked him and you were pitching him for United because he fits, the Ten Hag system. Just looking at him on the pitch, he's got that kind of arrogance about him without kind of being able to back it up in a Chelsea shirt, not in an Ajax shirt. That's a different conversation. So, I think we'll see the likes of those players go in January too. But look, I'm just going to finish off on saying I think it's a positive appointment. I said it in the group chat yesterday as well. I said every day of the week I want Potter ahead of Pochettino. So you know, for the record, I said that. Contrary to Greg trying to think that I was advocating for Pochettino because I don't want that anywhere near the club. So yeah, I just want to say, yeah, I think for the first time in a long time, I've looked at my club going, okay, this is very, very interesting. You're giving something to a younger English manager who knows the league and who knows and trusts his style of football enough to go in there with a multi-billionaire in Todd Bowley and say, right, well, these are my list of demands. I need this amount for my coaching staff. You're not going to decide my coaching staff. I also want to be involved.
Did you hear the breakdown? So apparently the breakdown on the coaching staff was for Potter, and it was only 4.9 for the staff.
Yeah.
That Potter himself was 16, but they had written that into his new contract.
Yeah.
And wanted him knowing somebody would come, and the likelihood was if somebody came, it was a new Chelsea, a Spurs, someone like that. It was 16 million for Potter on his own, and then it was get the rest of the boys out of the building to join him.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's a good show.
Clever.
It's
very well
very
run
clever.
club, Brighton.
Yeah,
I'd say
clever.
Brighton love Chelsea at the moment. They're at that making a shitload of money and getting a couple of players out of it too. So
yeah, you sort of wonder with Cucurella going there and stuff like that. Was this and the links between the two clubs? Was this kind of on the cards now? Is this a a Warren report moment or something like that? Has this been
according to Matt Law, this has been a relationship that was worked on with Todd Bowley very, very early on. Yeah, and they've both been kind of singing each other's praises. So you'd wonder when Bowley came over, was someone in the club smart enough to go, here, I have something for you.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. And
throws a foil on his desk.
Yeah.
And make sure that Marina doesn't get a hold of it.
I suppose we'll end with this sort of comment. It's kind of refreshing when a manager is appointed and you can go down through the squad individually and go, yeah, he's his guy, not a chance, he's his guy. It's very interesting. It's going to be interesting. David, with that final comment there, Chelsea's transfer window seemed quite erratic. Do you reckon Chelsea had a plan? I think they did have a plan, but I'm not too sure with the appointment of Graham Potter. I don't know whether Graham Potter would have been looking for an Aubameyang or something like that, So I think what happened was this transfer window was just crazy.
That's where I would kind of see the strange part of the story, and I don't necessarily disagree with the Chelsea have had their eye on Potter and stuff like that, and even. And Bowley has been, creating some sort of relationship there in the whole matter. But, to do something like getting Aubameyang in the door in days ago for a guy like Tuchel and know that you're about to chop him, like that, do you know what I mean? Because, in all honesty, the only reason Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is because he's worked under Thomas Tuchel. But there, nobody takes him. He's still at Barcelona next week. Yeah. So the fact that
it's the one thing for me as well. That's kind of like, all right, what the fuck does? But at the same right, I get we needed a striker. We definitely did. Other than Broja, we needed a striker. I'm almost thinking from a business standpoint, he's not on more than he was at Barcelona. That's for sure. They've offloaded a player in the process in Marcos Alonso, who otherwise was on high wages and a long-term contract that you wouldn't have been able to get off the books for a fee. You've brought Aubameyang in for €10 million on a 2-year contract with an option for a further 1. Sorry, not on the astronomical wages that say, Ronaldo would have cost.
He's still on 250 bags a week, though.
Oh no, I get that. But what I'm saying is, it's probably something that Tuchel can say, well, I can write this one off. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I brought in Fofana.
Well, Bowley, you mean, maybe?
Yeah, Bowley.
Bowley,
Yeah.
sorry,
Bowley right
Bowley's
now,
what I meant. Sorry.
It just still feels like a weird move, though,
it's been
doesn't
a long
it?
24, 48 hours, Dazzler. Forgive me.
It just does feel like a strange one, you know?
Yeah.
No, it
Because,
is a strange
like,
one.
if you look at, like, if I look at Arnie Chukwuemeka, and if I look at the boy Casadi, and if I look at Slanina, and if I look at these who are starting to raise their profile, these all fit Potter.
Yeah.
These,
But
but
then
then
you
you
look
go,
at
you know, Wesley Fofana, Graham Potter will love that all day long, and twice on a Sunday, as Greg would say. But thing is just absolutely mental. That's mental.
But isn't that the one expendable of the lot then, when you think about it?
Possibly,
You know,
yeah. I
that
mean,
if he has to write that one off.
the one thing
then
I
it's
would have been
one.
laughing at yesterday was when Wesley Fofana woke up yesterday and he's saying Brendan Rodgers in the betting for the job as well. He must have been going, oh my God.
Would you stop? Rodgers would have fucking made up with him very fucking quickly and would have
I
been
know,
happy to do so.
Can't wait to play in the 23s.
Yeah, he would have been absolutely loving. It would have been him bowing down at Fofana's feet. The fact that he was fucking in a job as such a, you know, like Chelsea.
Absolutely.
But no, I think it's. But to answer David's question, yeah, it was 50-50. I think there was a plan at the start. Don't forget, Tuchel had a huge hand in drawing up this list along with Bowley, which is a fact. It wasn't just Bowley going, oh, well, I know Wesley Fofana from, being over in
if Bowley still knows that he's a foot with the likes of Graham Potter and possibly shown, what has Tuchel got anything to do with signing players? That's wrong then.
Well, so no, I think but that's what they're saying initially. Initially, it was meant to work, but they were saying there was a bit of a fallout then because Tuchel was pissed off over in America because he was asked to take on those extra duties of, looking at players. And the reason that Todd Bowley didn't fancy Marina, and this is what Matt Law said on TalkSport, the reason he didn't fancy Marina and all was because she didn't want her dilly-dallying on targets and, trying to negotiate down to the finest fucking decimal point and stuff like that. So it was obviously looking at it. I suppose Niall's made the point throughout all of this that, business people know business people, you know what I mean? And he probably looked at it and said, I can't work with these guys. And not only the fact that, apparently Czech and Marina still had that loyalty to Roman, which is very understandable. So it is what it is. But
the Fofana one should have been an indication as well. The way he headed off to America and not over to Chelsea, and he met up with Bowley in America and all. You know what I mean? So obviously, at that stage, Tuchel was out on his own, sailing that ship on his own. At that stage, where you're bringing the player over. And
it's very hard.
He does it, Bammy. You're like, the fuck.
Yeah.
I know. It is, Dazzler. It's the one that I can only speculate on, and I cannot. I can't.
I suppose the one thing we know from it is it's unlikely the other 1 year option will be taken up anyway. That's for sure. Listen, lads, it's been a pleasure. We'll watch this with bated breath. It's certainly one to be interested in. I was really looking forward to, if the football was on this weekend, to seeing what starting 11 he picks with and stuff like that. Pleasure, Ian, having you on. Of course, check out Ian. Dynamos does them with me once a week. We do the pro wrestling, if you're a pro wrestling fan, and also the Chelsea Roar with Ian every week. He's doing that Chelsea.
And Dazzler, by the way.
Check it out. And Dazzler. Yeah, Dazzler has made his debut as well on the Dynamos does them with the SummerSlam review, was it?
Yeah, very enjoyable show. Yeah,
I wasn't available and stuff like that. Yeah, it was really, really good. As always, I'm always here with the Dazzler doing the shows.
Dazzler. A ticket to Survivor Series.
So I heard, he's off the Survivor Series, saying nothing. I am jealous a little bit. I do like Boston on the TD Garden. I'd say that would be very cool.
The TD Garden, Boston, November 20.
So no doubt Dazzler will be on Dynamos Dozen again very, very soon.
There you go, Darren. You're putting it out there. Here, listen, there's no weekend of football. I'm just putting that out there. What else are we going to be doing?
So yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well, until next time, lads, a pleasure. Everyone in the chat, really appreciate you coming on. David, Ted, and everyone, Keen and all. Daz and all those boys who come on all the time. Of course, on your way out, hit the like on the video. Really, really important to us. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I know you all probably have at this stage. But spread the word and see can we get a few more subs in there. It's looking like it's going to be a kind of an empty weekend, so it'll be the Monday mashup before we come back. But we're going to have to come up with something for the Monday mashup because we're not going to be able to review the Premier League action or any of that. So we'll probably be previewing the Champions League action. I would assume, Darren, what do you think? The Champions League will probably go ahead.
Do you know what we're going to do? We're going to go and we're going to visit all the local dealers in the north side of Dublin, and we are going to have the Monday hash up.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, until next time, a pleasure, folks. If you want to contact the show, it's the Upper Tier Podcast at gmail.com. You know where to find us. We're out there, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok every single day. And we will be back on Monday evening with some sort of a show. We don't know what we're going to put together yet, but when we do put it together, you lovely people will be the first ones to know. Till next time. Cheers, lads.